Another week. I want to speak to you this morning about a fellow called Nehemiah. And his prayer. I have a friend who describes Nehemiah as the Arnold Schwarzenegger of his time. I'm going to update that slightly and say he's the Rock, the Dwayne Johnson of his time. He's a guy who got things done. He was just a guy pushed through. He took, he went to Jerusalem. He rebuilt the walls. He got rid of corruption. He protected the people. He got the people motivated. He restored things. He got the job done. Bit of a hero, But he didn't start out that way. That's not where the story started, which is usually the case, isn't it? People don't just arrive somewhere. There's always something behind it. So, in the book of Nehemiah, right at the start there, he prays. So what I want to do is I'm going to read a bit of that prayer, then put it in some context, and then just share a couple of things out of that. So, that prayer of Nehemiah's. So in Nehemiah chapter 1, and this is verse 18, even with my glasses, I think I'm going to need my eyes tested again. They are your servants and your people, whom you redeemed by your great strength and your mighty hand, O Lord. Lord, let your ear be attentive to the prayer of this your servant, and to the prayer of your servants who delight in revering your name. Give your servant success today by granting him favour in the presence of this man. Now, grant him success in the presence of this man. So what's going on here? It's actually something, I think, which is quite relevant to all of us, is Nehemiah's got bad news. He's received news. He's been told about what's going on in Jerusalem. He is in Susa, in the royal citadel in Babylon. And he hears in his homeland, as a Jew, the place where actually probably wasn't born in because it's the time of exile, but the place of his people is in ruins. The walls are broken down. The people are giving themselves over to whatever. And it's a dire situation, and it hurts. It hurts. One of those real deep in your heart hurts, and he breaks, and he weeps, and he prays, and he fasts. And he does this prayer then in Nehemiah, which you can read of yourselves afterwards. And that's his response, isn't it? He prays actually, but it's a prayer of action. And that's why we say as well about this being the superhero guy. Something impacts him, something stirs his heart, something has happened which hurts deep inside. And his prayer is a prayer of, give me success, Lord, in the presence of this man. And who is this man? This man is the king of Babylon, the guy who would have, Artaxerxes, I think it is, and he would have been known as the King of Kings. He was high above everyone else. To be in his presence was a privilege. To ask something in his presence without permission could lead to instant death. And he wants to go to the king and ask for his help. So this prayer is saying to God, God, I have been stirred. I have something which hurts. I have seen something which I need to respond to. I need your strength to pull it off. How many times can we look around at injustice in the world, or we can look at injustice around us, or just unfairness in situations, And maybe it hurts. And what do we do with it? Do we just shrug our shoulders? Do we mourn? Do we weep? Do we stomp our feet? Nehemiah's prayer, as I say, is a prayer of action. It has a declaration in it. Lord, I want to respond to this that I've heard about. I want to respond to this pain. I want to respond to this injustice. I want to respond. I need you. Because there's the other crux of the point, isn't it? That so often we will try to do things in our own strength. And, in that place, I think we get tired, we get weary, we can't be as consistent as we need to be. We can't carry all that we need to carry. It reminds you, Brian, my brother, was speaking the other week, was talking about the, when Jesus rose again, but the fishermen are out. They're out on the Sea of Galilee and they're fishing, not catching anything. And they were experienced fishermen and they knew what they were doing. They'd fished all their lives, but they weren't catching anything. And then Jesus is on the shore and he says, put the net on the other side. Put the net on the other side. And with Jesus, they pull out this huge amount of fish, even counted them. I can't remember the exact number, but if you look at the end of John, it says exactly how many fish they caught, which I think is amazing. But reality is that with Jesus, not in our own strength, but with him. And that's Nehemiah's prayer. Nehemiah, he wants to return. He wants to go back to Jerusalem and he wants to help. And he wants to rebuild. But he knows that he needs God's presence with him and his strength with him to be able to do that. And I think actually we read this prayer, and he reads this prayer, hears what's happening in Jerusalem, and he's this big prayer. And then actually this is the last line of really chapter 1 of Nehemiah says this. It says, I was cupbearer to the king. Such a little statement. It's this really bad stuff's happening. God, I really need you to help me. I was cupbearer to the king. And I think that's it's a statement of wherever I am at. It's a statement that says, this is my position. I'm going to act. It's a reminder to us all, which says, we could all do that prayer. We could say, I have this real pain. God, I need success in that. I'm a leader in a church. Lord, I need help in that. I'm a teacher. Lord, I really want to see change in here. I'm a full-time mum. Lord, I really want to, and we could put whatever position we ourselves are in, whatever role we think that is ours or that we're caught in at the moment, we're doing at the moment, we can pray that prayer. We say, God, I want to see change. And to a certain extent, it doesn't matter what I'm doing, Lord. For Nehemiah as the cupbearer to the king, recently, he's praying for that success. If he goes in front of the king and says, God, this, King, this is what, I'd really like to go and help my people, the king would completely be in his rights at that time, in his position to go, go and kill him. Go and cut off his head. And Nehemiah's aware of that. He still goes and does it. He prays, he calls on God, he asks for God's strength, and he knows his position, and he knows the risks involved, and yet he goes and asks. That's we today. What's stirring it up? What do we see around us that needs changing? Let's call out to God. Say, Lord God, I need your strength. I need success in the presence of this situation right now. And where I'm at, wherever that's at, that doesn't matter. I will use that and I will respond in that situation. And we all start a bit of our hero journey, I suppose, like Nehemiah. We only do it with him. He is our success because he's already won. He has the strength, he has the power. Let's call out to God this morning. Let's be challenged this morning. And let's respond when we feel that in our heart. And you know as well as I do, so many times our hearts, we feel it. How are we going to respond? Let's respond today and going forward as Nehemiah. Thanks for your time today. See you all soon.